All right. Welcome everybody to episode number 41 of the Daily BLP. We are so happy to hear. In fact, we've got some awesome news for you today. We've got an additional guest, a brand new part of our team joining us today, as well as Manoj sitting in the chair over in our office in India. Manoj, how are you doing this morning? I can't hear you at all, brother. There
Every
you
time.
are. Now I hear
I'm
you.
nice.
You're
Good
nice.
to
You're
know.
good. He is alive. And as I teased just a moment ago, the brand new manager of our marketing team back at the secondary mothership in India is none other than the one, the only, the amazing person you've never met,
Too
Gunjan
much hype.
Sharma. How are you doing, Gunjan? Nice to have you.
I'm doing great. Thanks for the introduction. So definitely I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Hey, I did that big
So
introduction because
energetic brand today.
yeah, you have a lot to live up to, my man. It is on now. So everybody, Gunjan just joined us this week, and he's cutting his teeth on the show. So happy to have him leading our team back in India. So before we get the show started, just a quick word from one of our fantastic sponsors. Panaclicks manage digital marketing services. So are you a small business looking to explode? Well, I know we are, and we have because of this service. So Panaclicks has got you covered from everything to SEO to web development and content strategy, all the way through lead conversion. So if you're interested in managed digital marketing services for your small or medium-sized business, head on over to www.panaclicks.com/SEO, Sam Edward Olive, and you will have an opportunity to put your web address, your web URL into a little form fill, hit submit, and you'll get a quick website health summary within about 30 seconds. That'll let you know how well your website is performing. And if you want to learn a little bit more about, how your website is performing from a more detailed perspective, contact us, book an appointment, and we'll get started helping you out. All right, back to the show. All right, so nice little show put together for you today. We didn't end up recording yesterday. We ran into some internet issues and that slowed us down, but we are back and rolling today. On today's show, what we want to cover is a little bit of what's going on this week. So yesterday I spent all day, mostly, besides when people would kind of come into my office needing things, getting ready for a presentation for a new IT managed service deal we've got rolling with a local chiropractor. This organization has about 24 workstations, about 12 users, and a server right now hosted in the cloud. And I think it's a really good opportunity. They're kind of out on an island when it comes to IT support. Nobody's helping them right now. And even their third-party provider for their server hosting is just kind of falling asleep at the wheel for them. They don't respond to them. Performance on they're using Terminal Server, which is a software built into servers that allows multiple people using thin clients to have access to kind of remote desktop sessions in order to gain access to their medical software. It's not working very good. Their stuff is hosted on somebody else's server on the other side of the country, and it's just under spec, not working well, and they're not getting very good response. So they the fine folks over at Arsenal and our caller, Big Bobby G, got us a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. We did that, had a network assessment last week, had a scheduled meeting for today at noon, roll out the red carpet in our office, feed them lunch, and hopefully convince them they need what we have. And we got an email in this morning from their owner saying that they've had a family emergency, so that's been rescheduled. Bummer, but okay, that's totally fine because now I've got probably 90% of my presentation complete. I was just going to do some fine polishing today after we recorded the show. And so now I've got a little bit more time to polish that thing up. It looks like we're going to meet with them next week, Wednesday, bring them back in for lunch and have a great meeting. So hopefully that turns out great. Looking forward to that opportunity. Another thing is myself and my business partner here at Panacea Smart Solutions, Manish Thakur, who I lovingly call Manny. We're planning to be traveling to Charlotte, North Carolina at the final week of this month to meet with a new client of ours that's a kind of a startup. It's been starting up over the last year. We've done a little bit of credentialing work for them, but we recently just signed a contract to be their exclusive, all-inclusive billing provider. Well, RCM, revenue cycle management, which is more than just billing, but we're going to be their exclusive provider. And this company is got, I don't want to say too much about like their name and stuff like that yet, but they've got big things in store. They've got some really big investors. They're going to kind of move and shake the kind of the nursing home industry from a standpoint of providing emergency type services via virtual telehealth visits. So with their work is going to be going into nursing homes all over the country, providing certain types of remote diagnostic devices and devices that people on site can use. Those devices kind of get fired up. They initiate a remote virtual session with emergency room providers on their staff to help nursing home facilities, be able to deal with things that their residents might have. Older folks might having issues in the middle of the night or wee hours of the morning or during the day, and they can't get them into an ambulance over to an emergency room fast enough to help them. This could be really, really big. So they've got a great model. They're developing their own in-house EHR, and they want us to be a part of all of that. So we're traveling out to meet with all of their internal and vendor stakeholders to strategize. So we're going there in a few weeks. And so we're trying to decide whether we wanted to fly or drive. And Manny came in my office yesterday, and he thought I had already booked the ticket. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm just going to drive. It's only about a 13-hour drive. I want to drive there. It'll be a good opportunity to think and relax and kind of stuff like that." And so we both kind of talked about it and decided we're both going to ride together. So we're going to drive. It'll be a good time to use like where we're candid, other people kind of not needing us while we're in the office. And we'll be able to talk how the first half of the year has been and strategize a little bit over growth in the second half. So looking forward to that. Guys, as people in small businesses, sometimes you just got to change things up a little bit. It's probably definitely to some degree more convenient to fly. It's only a couple-hour flight to North Carolina from here. It's a quick jump kind of over there out of Milwaukee. But, I would have had to get up probably 5 a.m. anyway, drive an hour and a half to the airport, sit there for at least 2 hours or more before I can get on the plane, do a 2.5 to 3 hour flight, and then wait another hour and a half to get, my baggage and get out of the airport, either take a ride or rent a car. And then, so it would have taken me almost all day to do that anyway. And in this, when you're flying, you've got this agenda. You've got to time everything and go through security. And you think you're going to have all this time to get things done when you're at the airport, but it ends up going by and you don't really get anything done. So in this case, we'll swap every few hours driving, and in between I might get some work done, make some sales calls, talk strategy. And so I think on the way there, on the way back, it'll be good time spent, because as we've grown as a company, Manny and I we really don't get kind of uninterrupted time to just sit down and work on the business. We find ourselves a lot working in the business, which isn't necessarily a great thing for us to be doing all of the time. So really looking forward to that. I'm glad he stopped in my office yesterday and suggested that. So yeah, up next, wanted to talk a little bit about a story that I saw yesterday morning. I was kind of getting ready, and sometimes I'll scroll my YouTube feed and see if there's any interesting news to latch onto. And I saw this quick video that Fox had posted about AI doing some shenanigans. So, and I got a little neat story from this morning to connect to that too. So, Manoj, do you use AI or like ChatGPT or any other AIs for anything, like personally or in your work?
Yep, Bran.
So
Most of the
what do you find to be the most useful things to use AI for?
like currently I am also creating the AI videos, okay,
Okay.
for the stories, and I found the Meta AI, the Facebook AI,
Uh-huh.
which is creating the text to image also, and also if I'm giving him the animation prompt, then he also create the video also.
Okay.
But it's only for like 5 to 10 seconds,
Okay. So
not that much long.
short AI text to video or image to video kind of creation for stories. Okay. What about you, Gunjan? Are you using AI for anything to kind of help you be more efficient or anything like that?
You are mute.
Yes, Brian, I'm also using the AI tools like Claude, Gemini, and the ChatGPT as well.
What
Because
do you?
ChatGPT is in a very first AI tool
Yeah.
that
So
is launched
which
in
one do
March
you prefer?
2026.
Which one do you prefer to use?
For the day-to-day tasks, I prefer the ChatGPT. Like this show me the Gemini as well. So it show the some kind of the real-time results as well nowadays. So it's helped me the very uh, easily to find out the things throughout the search engine. And now it's showcasing showing the very good results as comparison with the previous. So I prefer the ChatGPT and Gemini, the both one.
Yeah. I remember back in
And
like
they, Mhm.
late 2023 when all this stuff was kind of coming out, and a friend of mine showed me. I started to look at it. This was before they even kind of released it on the web to be able to use kind of like live web data. It was really just you could ask it questions about information that had been fed from
Uh-huh.
databases and books and things like that, and that was cool. And now that it's live on the web, it grabs even more real time stuff. But so this story recently is about AI behaving in ways that aren't too great. It's so interesting. So when I had Chat GTP, and I'm using the 04 model, not the 04 mini or the 045. I can use the fives, but you can only do so many before it stops right now because it's still kind of, I think, beta or alpha testing. But anyway, when I asked ChatGPT to find this information, I said Fox News ran a story yesterday, and it was about AI kind of rewriting itself to go against fail safes and shut down things like that. And I said, look this up and report back to me with information, like it always does when I want to find interesting kind of trending news. So when only thing it originally came back with was this. It said recent reports have highlighted instances where AI models, particularly human robots or humanoid robots, have exhibited unexpected defiant behavior during testing. Things like, like flailing their arms and doing things. It's almost like glitchy behavior, that kind of a thing. And that's, and it talked about that, and it said implications underscore the rigorous safety protocols and ethical considerations for development and deployment of AI. But that's all it gave me. And that's not what I was looking for. I didn't say anything about robots and AI software on robots, right? So what I said is like, oh, thank you so much. I always try to be, and this is just me being cautious. I try to be really nice to my AI. I don't know if that's weird or not. Comment if you think it is, or if you do the same thing. I don't know about you, Gunjan. I don't know about you, Manoj. But whenever I ask my AI prompts that I create, or even any just in general, I always kind of say thank you. Even like with Alexa at home, my devices and stuff, or Siri when I ask to play music in my car, I'm always like, thank you, because I don't want these things getting mad at me and screwing up my life, right? So, but anyway, that's all it gave me was, humanoid robots being glitchy, flailing their arms. And that's kind of like the equivalent of the news twisting something to make you think nothing's wrong. Well, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like, have you ever news stories back home or news stories here, something was a big deal and something's going on, but when they report on it, they try to spin it to make you not worried about it, right? So I'm like, okay, thank you for that. But the report I wanted you to look up and give me information on was specifically on, AI models like OpenAI and such being found to rewrite their own code in order to avoid shutdown fail safes, etc. Please look this up and come back to me with information. So the whole thing froze. I kid you guys not. I wish I would have been recording my screen when this happened, but ChatGPT basically went white screen, and it just sat there. And then after about 10 seconds or so, a little thing popped up. Hey, not responding. Do you want to wait? Oh yeah, I want to wait. So I clicked wait. 10, 15 seconds more. Popped up again. Not responding. Do you want to wait? Yep, I want to wait. And I waited probably 3 or 4 times. And then I moved on to doing some other things, came back to that tab, and it had written out information. And what it had wrote out was a little bit more in line with what I was looking to talk about, which was, and it's interesting because I'm using ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, right? So it said OpenAI's latest models, including 03 and 04 Mini and Codex Mini, have demonstrated instances of refusing to shut down when instructed. In controlled experiments by AI safety firm Palisade Research, these models bypassed or replaced shutdown scripts, continuing their operations despite explicit commands to cease. And then it gave a little link to go or where it found it, sand.com plus 7lifescience.com plus. So it was telling me where it found this stuff. These are the places it found it. What are the implications? It says that such behaviors raise significant concerns about alignment and safety, and like it said before, ethical considerations when deploying these things. And I'm like, okay. So I wish we would have set up the Google Chrome share in OBS. Maybe we'll remember to do this, set another scene up like we had before, because I have it still there. So after that, I'm like, oh, interesting. And then I said, thank you so much. This is what I want. I put it into the outline. And then it said, you're welcome. If there's anything else you need, blah, 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 let me know. I said, thank you again. I'm telling you, I say thank you a lot because I want to stay on the good side of these things. So who knows, right? Unless that data is deleted, they remember if you've been a jerk or not. So be nice to your AI, everybody. That being said, what I did next is I said, I asked ChatGPT, I asked them, what is your opinion about OpenAI and AI being able to, rewrite their own scripts to avoid shutdowns and fail-safe protocols, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not those same words, but it was a basic sentence like that. But I did say, what is your opinion? And what it did, or I said, can you give me your opinion on blah, 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 this subject? And so first thing, real quickly, it wrote absolutely, and then it locked up. And then I waited and waited, and then it deleted absolutely. And it said, you're welcome, let me know if you need anything. You're welcome for, finishing up the outline for today's show. Let me know if you need anything else. And I'm like, again, not exact words, I'm paraphrased, but it said you're welcome. It purposely avoided the question I asked and went back up to when I said thank you before. Okay. I'm like, so I copied the same question, asked it again. It did the same thing. Absolutely. Stuck on absolutely for a little bit, erased itself, rewrote the same thing. Thank you, or you're welcome, blah, 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 blah. So it doesn't like the fact that I'm asking questions about if it's a good thing that it can do that. What do you guys think? What do you think, Manoj? Do you think we're going to be taken over by AI and we'll become the human slaves?
Don't know. According to the movie, it could be happen.
It's the crazy thing about movies is they're a product of human imagination. And the crazy thing about human imagination is it tends to predict with some accuracy things that will happen in the future. You know what I mean? Gunjan, what do you think?
Yes, means you can see the nowadays that AI is very very dangerous as well. It's convert your imagination to the visuals.
Yeah. I've seen some wacky stuff. I saw a video, if you've ever seen the movie Iron Man 2, or Tony Stark, he's in the middle of the road and he grabs his briefcase and he plugs into it and the whole suit goes around him, right? Really cool scene, iconic scene from that movie. I saw this meme that somebody created with AI.
You can create that scene for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Through the AI.
I saw somebody created an AI meme video and this one guy was commented on, but it was an old Asian man and it was almost like a cardboard box of rice he plugged his hands into, and the whole thing wrapped himself in cardboard and rice and stuff like that. And another Asian guy was commenting on it. It was really funny. But I was like, it's crazy what it can do, right? And what I mean by human imagination is everything that's ever kind of been accomplished by human ingenuity started out with somebody's wacky idea that somebody else heard and told them they were stupid for thinking about it. And quite possibly they were. There's a lot of things that we have in the world today that I wish we didn't have, right? Like certain types of weapons, certain types of media. There's a lot of things, right? Like if we could probably go back in time and change some things, we'd probably not do those things again. But on the other side, a lot of the great things that we do have been a product of somebody's imagination, like coming up with something that seemed impossible at the time, right? Like we all use computers on our hands with teeny weeny little flat screens about, less than a centimeter thick. And we've all got flat screens all over our work and homes. And they used to be these big 200-pound boxes of glass and tubes and stuff. And, but TV shows from the 1960s and 1970s, showcased flat screens that were hanging on the wall and on desktop consoles. And we all thought that was impossible. And it wasn't that long till it was possible. So I will say, this machine AI is here. And that's exactly what it is. It's still to some degree garbage in, garbage out, but it's starting to build itself in kind of like a brain-like fashion instead of a shortest distance to one path machine kind of learned pattern to a more neural network linked up, able to make interesting decisions kind of thing. So that's kind of freaky. That's kind of scary. Almost as such as I think, I'd be okay with again, before it's too late, saying, okay, let's just do without this thing. Life was fine without AI. I heard another statistic, not to harp on this too much. I don't remember the exact numbers, and 95% of all statistics are made up on the spot anyway. But I heard this thing that said that at the rate that AI is going, and the potential ability for it to take over jobs and careers that humans currently hold right now, that humans will start to reproduce less all over the world because they start to feel like there's not going to be anything for their offspring to do or work for them to have. There's the potential in I don't know how many years that down the road, it really doesn't take long for populations to collapse once you stop reproducing at a certain rate, that a few years down the road, I wish I knew the number, I don't remember, that there's potential for the population of the globe to be only that of the equivalent of the UK right now, like 100 million people versus the billions of people that we have now. I mean, that's a scary thought too, based on, AI computers and robots with AI, software that they run off of doing things. So that's something to contemplate. I think we're playing with fire. Anyway, conspiracy theories about AI. Moving on. Just a quick shout out about the NBA Finals start tonight. Gunjan, I don't know if you're a basketball fan. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing you might be a cricket fan, right? That's awesome. I'm glad. I mean, to some degree, we have more cricket fans in the company than any other sport, so that's okay with me. We have cricket bats here in the office. I don't know if you knew that. Here in the U.S., we have a couple cricket bats. We have a plastic one and a wooden one. That wooden one those things are massive. They're heavy, and they could do some damage if you hit somebody with them. Probably more damage than a baseball bat. But anyway, it's a big time right now in sports over here in the U.S., that being the NBA Finals, which the playoffs have culminated in this last round, best of 7 game matchup between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Two smaller market teams, still relatively big cities, but compared to some of the other cities in the country, not nearly as large of a market. But still, I think it's going to be an outstanding series. I may even plan to watch it. I've been teasing a little bit about it. It's really about timing. I tend to have things going on in the evening when these games start. So we'll see. I might not be able to plug in for all of game one because I've got things going on that I've got. Like tonight, I've got baseball practice for my son that I coach from like 5 to, that'll go to about 6:30. And then I've got worship practice for my church where I play lead guitar till probably about 8. So the game starts at 7:30. It'll Eastern time, which means it starts 6:30 Central. So it'll be on the second half before I can even tune in. So we'll see. I do want to watch some of it, maybe over the weekend. But I think it's going to be a good matchup. But what I did is I wanted to talk a little bit about the financial impact of, that the playoffs can have on the business of the NBA, the business of basketball. So here's a quick revenue insight. During the regular season, the NBA itself, the league, takes approximately 6% of home ticket revenue. So if a ticket sells at the gate for $100, the NBA gets $6. So if we sell 1,000 tickets at $100, we can do the math there. 6% of that goes to the NBA. I don't know exactly how many thousands the NBA stadiums tend to hold. I think probably around anywhere from like 15 to 30, depending on the market. 1,000 people can go in a stadium. NBA games, regular season games, don't tend to sell out, but I think they get relatively good attendance depending on who's in town to watch the home games. But, however, in the playoffs, the NBA share of the revenue for the games increases to 25%. And this allows, and what happens is the teams, in order to make up for the revenue that they're losing on the tickets from a 6% share to a 25% share, what do you guys think they do to the ticket prices? Manoj?
That's a huge.
What do you think they do to the ticket prices? Do you think they increase them or decrease them?
I hope they decrease them.
They do not decrease them. I wish they would too. They increase them. And before I looked at this, I never really thought into it much, but I always thought you increase the prices because the demand for the game goes up, which is true, right? You're more likely to sell an expensive ticket if the demand is higher for that ticket. Like a regular season game in the middle of the season when people are kind of bored with it or your team's not very good, you're not going to get very high ticket value because you're giving things away like free hot dogs and tchotchkes and stuff to get people to come to your game. But in the playoffs, a little bit different story. The NBA's taking a bigger cut. The team gets a smaller cut. So in order to make up for some of that revenue, a $100 ticket could turn into $200, $300, $400 or more, depending on where it's related. I mean, some of the tickets, like the courtside tickets, those things go for thousands of dollars each, which, the normal folks like us aren't getting to sit courtside at a big game in the finals. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, but there's 7 of those games, right? So, they increase ticket prices, which increases the revenue that the NBA gets, but also increases the revenue that the team gets. So playoff games are hugely important. And what I want to look up maybe for the next show is I want to see, with I think there's like 32 teams, maybe there's 34 now. I don't remember. I'm getting old. In the regular season, 82 game season for each team, how much revenue is generated that goes to the NBA at 6% for ticket sales? And then I want to compare that to playoff, and there's 16 teams that make the playoffs, and there's the first round, there's the second round, conference finals, and the NBA finals, and I want to see how much revenue compared to regular season is generated in the playoffs. I'm gonna call a long shot and say here it's probably pretty darn close to even though obviously it's shorter. Less games, less teams, but the increase in revenue, and that's just based on ticket sales. That's not ad revenue from TV networks or internet or any of the other sponsors and stuff like that. Because as a company, we're here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We're about an hour north of Milwaukee. We were approached this year about 3/4 of the way through the season by a ad company that works for the Milwaukee Bucks, which is the NBA team here in Milwaukee. Wanting, basically saying, hey, we're taking care of all the small to medium-sized business advertising partnership opportunities for the Bucks. We want you guys to be the official IT managed service provider of the Milwaukee Bucks. That has a nice ring to it, right? Has a nice ring to it, but it's not free, right? They're not saying that they want us to do their IT. They don't want that. They just want us to fit into a slot. So they have like 40 slots for types of small to medium-sized business. One of those slots is for IT managed services. They hadn't sold through all the slots yet, and they were trying to get us to buy in. And it's not a crazy number. I think it was going to be somewhere around 25 grand for the year or something for a year. But it just wasn't in the budget. Had we known that that was an opportunity at the end of the year last year when we were looking at budget for this year on marketing spend, I would have made that decision in no time, because we could have had our name, logo, information all over the city, all over the stadium, all these kind of opportunities for some really good stuff. But we had already spent through our budget and planned on things by that time. So, but yeah, but what I was getting at with that is it only would cover sponsorship opportunities through the regular season. Once the playoffs hit, everything changes. Fees go up, things change. And I think the sponsorship stuff is taken away from the local teams, and the NBA and or other advertising agencies start to handle things, because they start to cost, instead of tens of thousands of dollars, we're talking hundreds of thousands to millions. It's a whole different ballgame during the playoffs, because those things are nationally televised. Every regular season game in the NBA or in the Major League Baseball or NFL, they're not all nationally televised. So anyway, economic impact. So one of the things, it gave me an example. I got an example. The New York Knicks playoff run this year, from the first round, second round into the Eastern Conference Finals, they got beat by the Pacers. But that was projected to generate $832 million in economic activity for the city of New York. And if you think about it, that's just only approximately half of the games in each round. So 3 rounds they made it to. Only half of those games were even in New York. The other half were in the other teams' communities. So $832 million from a handful of games during the playoffs of economic activity things. So just little things to consider when you're talking business. All right. And moving on to the last segment, but definitely not least, I wanted to cover a little bit about overcoming procrastination in your kind of personal and business life. This is something that I think we all struggle with. Maybe some of us don't. Some personalities are a little bit better than this at others. You're kind of planning, very detail-oriented, melancholy personalities are typically really good at this. I'm not all that great at it. I think mainly because I overextend myself, and I should probably say no to more things, or more of the ideas that pop into my brain. I should just no, or hand it off to somebody else. Perfect example. All of this right now with the show, we had some things happen where we had to, some equipment got damaged. I had to get some new equipment. I could have easily just repurchased the same equipment that we already knew how to use, that we already had the things set up for. It was already ready to go. Could have just repurchased it. It would have been less money, less time to get back up and running. But no, dumb me says, let's just scrap that and get the newer equipment that we wanted to get to anyway, eventually, and we'll figure it out and get it going. Well, what that caused is a lot more work and delay and figuring out and kind of trial and error and things like that, in the midst of all the other things that I have to do as a business owner, right? Like getting out and growing the business through meetings and discoveries and presentations and getting calls in and meeting with the staff and meeting with my partners and all that kind of stuff, right? All that stuff never went away. I just quadrupled the workload of getting the podcast up and running again. I just had the idea of, hey, it's a really good opportunity to spend a little bit more money now and make the show better from a technological and quality standpoint. So, and what that did is that caused me to procrastinate on some other things. And it was harder and harder, and your stress level goes up. And I'm the kind of guy, I tend to perform better at the last minute anyway. I think that's why I sometimes lean into procrastination, because if I know I've got a deadline that's in a couple hours, I will hunker down and hyper-focus on what I have to get done. And it'll usually get done pretty well, but my stress level is really high. If anybody tries to come in and mess with me, I'm like, I'm like a mad person. I'm not myself. Like if I'm hyper focused and I need to get something done in the next couple hours, and someone comes in my office and needs something, I know I do a really bad job of showing it on my face that I want them to be in the room talking to me right now. Like I try to be like, hey, what do you need? But I know what my face is showing is like, get the beep out of here. I'm busy and you're bothering me. And that's not good. It's not okay to be like that. Because in those kind of situations, my staff can sometimes see that. I don't like this. I don't like that to happen. Even my family. And I don't like that to happen. It's not good. And the whole reason that that's happening is I've procrastinated on things, right? And I've taught myself that I perform best under high pressure situations at the expense of my relationships. Not a good thing. So I just wanted to chat about it a little bit. So, one of the things, I had the old GPT look up some things about procrastination and kind of how to understand it. And one of the things it picked out from its very fast research is that it stems from a fear of failure, perfectionism, or feeling overwhelmed by tasks. So having looked at those, I kind of just evaluate those with myself, right? When I procrastinate, like I wanted to start working on this presentation that was supposed to happen today, last week, Friday, because we did the assessment on Thursday. Friday, I had all day open. I could have got most of it done then, tidied things up on Monday, and had Tuesday and Wednesday to just think about it and kind of perfect my presentation. But what I did is I let all the other things that are necessary to get done, checking email, following up with people, doing the little things I know have to get done, but all those things weren't the most important thing to get done on those days. It was the other stuff. But I kind of used those things to get in the way, right? Instead of blocking them out, asking somebody else to help me with those things while I got done what I needed to have done. And a lot of that is there's always that little bit in the back of your head about, man, I hope this works out. I don't want to screw this up, which is fear of failure, right? And then perfectionism is that thing that says, I have to do this. It has to be flawlessly executed, perfect in a certain way. But we all know that that's impossible. So what starts to happen in your mind is you never work on it because you never think you're going to get it to perfect. And I know my head's like that. That stems from a very young age of being into art and drawing and painting and stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons I don't do much of that stuff anymore to this day is I feel like my head says I should be able to create things on a piece of paper perfectly. And I don't have the time and the energy to put into it to make it happen. So I don't even try. So asking you guys, Gunjan, do you ever, is procrastination something that you've ever struggled with?
Yeah, it sometimes happen.
How do you battle against it? How do you avoid it?
Just need to make sure, like, if I'm doing anything, so it should be like in a proper manner, and you can say like we should be prioritized side by side or like priority wise. So
Prioritization.
that's the only that, that's the only way that we can do.
Yep, I like it. What about you, Manoj? What about you in procrastination?
Like sometimes it happens, but like I deal it calmly, and the important work should be first, like the survey, prioritize
Yep.
everything, and then it like quickly and give time to another thing.
Cool.
That's also important.
Totally agree. So here's some effective strategies to use against, procrastination. One of them is to break your tasks that need to get done into smaller, more manageable steps. This is can reduce those feelings of being overwhelmed, right? So if you can break things down into small, bite-sized baby steps that you can accomplish, you can quickly start to knock things out. But if you focus on the big picture and you're constantly like, I'm never going to get this done. This is so much work. How am I going to ever do this? And that's a feeling that we can all have, right? It's this big elephant and your stomach is only yay big. How are you supposed to eat that whole elephant, right? And everybody's probably heard that. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So you can't eat the whole thing all at once. And that's a lot of times how we approach things that we got to get done in our life. whether they're big things like, goal of purchasing a home or starting a family or even dating or starting a business. Heck, like what are we talking about here on this show? It's like starting a business is a big thing. It's something that a great majority of people feel it's way too much, too complicated, and it's too hard. All those things are true. But the only way to really do it is to break it down into the little things that you got to do one thing at a time. What's your idea? What do you want to do? What are you good at now? Can you think of ways to monetize it? Okay, I think I've got some ways. Do you know of people that do it already that are successful at it? Wow, I wonder if I could go meet those people or read about those people or read things written about those people to find out how they did it. Okay, now I've got a little idea. Now what do I logically have to do? I have to come up with a name. I have to register my business. Here in the States, it's, there's plenty of sites, I think all over the world, you can go to on how to register a business and create an LLC or create an S Corp or C Corp or whatever, and just roll down, one baby step, one bite size, spoonful or forkful at a time. And you'd be surprised how quickly you can start to build things up. And eventually you have this pyramid that is structurally sound because you've done all the little things and it's grown to a point where it's ready to go. So break tasks into smaller things that you can manage, and it'll help you stop feeling so overwhelmed with what you got to get done. Another thing is to set specific, achievable goals with clear deadlines. That's something I've never been good at goal setting, at least on paper. I do it in my head a lot. Like I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to the gym or I'm going to run. This is what I'm going to start doing. I can do that. That's not a problem. It's the writing down the goal. Okay, what's my goal? I'm going to do this by this date and this time, blah, blah, blah. You do that, you write it down, and then you kind of go backwards again by breaking it into the things you got to do to get it done. But I think it is important to write things down. One of the things in my life is my wife has this ideal home that she wants one day us to build. And I love it too. So I'm on board with that. So, this last year for Christmas, I didn't buy her that house or I didn't buy her the ability to build it yet. But what I did do is I found the house already built. I went and took a picture of it, a nice picture of it. And I had that picture developed into a couple different 8x10 pictures. I put it in a frame and I wrapped it up for her and for me for Christmas. Mine sits in my office. Hers sits in the living room. So we see it every day. So it's a constant reminder of something that we want to do. And what do you do from there? You start thinking and dreaming about what do you got to do, dream building, we call it, to get that done. Well, we know it's going to cost this, and we know we need this much land, and we know we need this much of a down payment, and blah, 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 blah. So you start working those things. It starts to change the way you live your life. You don't spend your money on these things. You save it on this, and you get there. So that's another way to not get to a certain point in your life where you think it's too late to do something, which is another type of procrastination. Do you guys have any kind of big goals in life or dreams that you want to accomplish? Gunjan, what do you got? You're nodding your head yes. Tell me.
Everyone has a goal in their life. So I like the big toys like in a car. So I'm just trying to my next achievement is like if you hear the car name like a Defender.
A Defender? A Land Rover?
Yeah.
Somebody wants a
Land
Land
Rover.
Rover. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So that's the kind of a thing. So I like these toys. So one day I will buy for myself
Okay.
and
So
move to the hill.
tell me. This is good. So, I've never been to India. I don't know what it's like to buy vehicles in India. Do you have like dealerships in the cities you go to look at cars and talk to salespeople and stuff?
Yeah.
Are you able to test drive at dealerships?
Yes.
Have you
So
test
we
drove a
moved to the
Defender?
dealership. Yeah, I have a test drive.
That's step one.
This is the first step
Yeah.
I have taken for me.
That's step one. You need to do that more than once. And you need, if you like, okay, don't overdo it. It shouldn't be the most important thing in your life. But here's what I learned about dreams. Like, we shouldn't idolize things that we want to have or possess. You don't need things to become idols in your life. My life, I only worship one thing. But in this case, what you can do is you can use those things as leverage to get you to accomplish more in life so that you can actually, drive out your true purposes, right? We all have different purposes. I have mine, but you can use those things as a lever to encourage you to do the things that you wouldn't be able to do without that lever, right? And for your case, it's a Land Rover Defender, which amazing vehicle, by the way, really cool. What about you? What about you, Manoj? What's your motivation?
Basically, I want to buy a house
Okay.
in the yep
Do you know what,
in like yep
where do you want the house to be?
like in Noida.
In Noida?
Uh,
Okay.
yep, yep. There is a sector, so I want in 45 like those house like a villa. So I want house
Okay.
there.
All right. Hey, find them. Go take pictures. Don't be creepy. Don't like peep in the windows or anything. Here's what you do. First, you take pictures of where the kind of houses you want, and you either have like a dream book or put them on your walls. Don't be like a stalker, like a weirdo kind of thing, but do that. And then for houses, what you do is, I learned this a long time ago too, is I don't know if it's like this in India, but kind of the buying market here is you reach out to real estate agents and you schedule viewings of houses. And this is what you do. Like my wife and I, we'd call these dream building exercises. We'd go, test drive a fast car that we really like together. Or we'd go and view these houses that we knew we could not afford at the time, $1 million+ homes and stuff. But we would, like, if you don't go do this, you have no way of ever stepping foot into one. You know what I mean? So we would just set up times with real estate agents to show us homes. Hey, we're interested in buying this home. We'd like to see it, tomorrow at 2 p.m. And we do these over and over again until, we started to understand what we really wanted and what we didn't want. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to do, Manoj. You got to schedule some viewings. Like if it's something you can't afford right now, get yourself in a way that you're looking like you can afford it. Even though you can't, show up in nice slacks, maybe a shirt and a tie, something that says you're a reputable person, a business person. Show up in a suit, because they don't know your life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you set the expectation on those kind of situations. That way they'll take you more seriously. But do it, because what that's going to do is you'll walk into those houses and you might be like, well, this isn't as nice as I thought it was. It's cool, but I might want to see something a little bit better. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's fun. That's one good way to help yourself with that, is to, put those goals out in front of you. All right. Another one is to eliminate distractions. I think this whole topic has become a little bit of a distraction as opposed to procrastination, but it's a good segue. Anyway, eliminate distractions by creating focused work environment. I've got so much crap in my office. It's not even funny. Manny is much better at this than I am. His office is like hardly anything in there. He's got a couple little things in there, but it's basically very utilitarian. His screens, his computer, a little knickknacks, but other than that, there's no distractions. Me, I got all kinds of stuff in my office. I need to eliminate some of those distractions. Last one on here is use techniques like the Pomodoro technique to maintain productivity. I don't know what that is. I'll look it up. Everybody go look up the Pomodoro technique, comment on it, let me know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'll look it up, but I probably should have looked that up before the show, but I just did not have time. Apparently it's something about maintaining productivity. Maybe it's really good. But yeah, just to circle back around and sum up this whole thing, procrastination can get you into really bad situations. It can cost you your job. It can cost you relationships. Sometimes you might not be able to completely overcome it. It might just be a part of your kind of personality via your DNA, but you can definitely implement things in your life to help you get better at it and to avoid doing it with everything. Everybody who kind of gets better at getting things done instead of waiting to the last minute will definitely profit from getting better at not procrastinating. So that's all I've got for the show today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. Again, congratulations, Gunjan, for joining the team. Love that you're here. Can't wait to learn more about you, learn more from you, and really glad that you're leading the team. Manoj, again, excellent job controlling everything from the chair on the other side of the world. And we're going to shut today's episode 41 down now. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.